In recent years, I've been in very close contact with our Arizona border communities, which are unlike other border communities, and about the funding needs to address migrant influxes through the Shelter and Services Program, or SSP. Without this funding, border communities must bear all the financial burden for national immigration challenges and the broken border in general. So that means police, fire, hospital systems, in general, anything of that. And at the same time, they will also face the potential challenges of street releases. And again, these are very small towns on the border. So having thousands of people being released becomes both burdensome, security issues, and just not fair to them. And we get lumped in with places like New York and Chicago about how they do their shelter programs. Our shelter programs are not the same as New York and Chicago. We do not permanently put people in apartments or anything of that nature. We are trying to move people away from the border so that way they don't become a burden on these very, very small communities. So I'm very highly concerned, as I told you in our meeting, when the SSP program becomes politicized and to the point where we get lumped in with those programs which I don't think are effective and are actually counterproductive, and it ends up depriving our small Arizona borders of these very, very vital funds that they need. So as DHS Secretary, how would you ensure that border communities are not left to respond to and pay for these immigration influxes, the broken border system on their own? And would you commit to helping really not politicize or destroying the SSP program to the point where places that are doing things correctly, like Yuma, Arizona, like Pima County, like Cochise County, aren't lumped in with the people that are doing things incorrectly, like New York State and Chicago?
Well, Senator, thank you for the conversation in your office about the program, FEMA, the southern border and the challenges, and then also the difference between your state and how you utilize funds versus other states. I would say that my hope is that if given the opportunity to serve as secretary, that the federal government would no longer, and I believe as President Trump has promised the American people, facilitate an illegal alien invasion, and that your communities in Arizona would no longer have the issue with having people in your small towns and communities that you need to figure out how to take care of and get them to where they want to go in other places of the country. The president has promised he will secure the border, that we will uphold our nation's laws, and that he will do that to the benefit and be putting America first again. So I know we talked extensively about the SSP program and how you've utilized it, but getting these programs back to what they were intended is important. FEMA is a disaster response agency, and some of the facilities that have been utilizing these types of funds and dollars need to be reevaluated and to make sure that it's truly doing the service that is upholding our nation's laws.
And certainly I understand reevaluating, especially how some of these states have been using it. And in an ideal world, we don't have to have a program like that because we don't have this mass of humanity that's coming towards our borders. But even under the first Trump administration, we actually still needed it also. So this is why my concern is to not get rid of this program, because again, these small communities, I'm talking communities of maybe 10,000 people, maybe only 6 or 7 cops are going to end up really bearing the brunt. And we're not a big state. We can't really compensate for those types of losses. These small communities are also largely in, you come from a rural state, counties that are largely rural with a lot of federal land, so they actually don't even have a tax base. So when the broken immigration system sends people to these borders and we end up not having to have enough, these communities don't have enough money to pay for cops, firefighters, overtime for hospital systems, it's that type of program that keeps these small communities afloat. So I just want to make sure, that again, this does not become politicized and that we are kept separate from, I think, the mistakes that other states have taken on. Moving on, in Arizona, we have large parts of the border that run through tribal lands. We have 22 federally recognized tribes. We have great relationships with these tribes. They want to be collaborative partners when it comes to border security. And then we have some great programs that have worked in the past. For example, the Shadow Wolves program with the Tohono O'odham Nation. It's a really good example, collaborative program of tribal law enforcement that worked with DHS to make sure they stop human smuggling and cartels going through the borders. But as DHS Secretary, what is your plan to consult with our border tribes and work together to balance both national security but also their sovereignty?
Yeah. Well, Senator, I believe that my experience as governor and my relationship with working with our tribes is going to be an incredible, powerful tool for me to bring to bear at the Department of Homeland Security to work on how we secure our southern border, but still respect their sovereignty and still be able to work with them. This year, when looking at public safety issues that we had in South Dakota and their lack of ability to hire tribal officers on our reservations in South Dakota, I offered to train federal law enforcement officers, BIA officers, but also their tribal police in South Dakota at no cost to our tribes. And it's been an incredible, powerful tool that we've had to build relationships. Those tribal police had the chance to go through academy with the local, maybe deputies from the counties and the state highway patrol troopers that were coming on board. And those relationships have built partnerships in our state that we didn't have before. The Shadow Wolf training opportunity is incredible that was down in Arizona that you spoke of too. And in looking into that program, I'd like to continue to build on that and perpetuate in the future so that our tribes have an opportunity to have a secure border, but also have it reflect their values and their culture and have their own people be a part of the solution. And then even when it comes to the infrastructure of the wall, that we're respecting that in their landscapes and their land as well. So I look forward to working with you as we move into this next administration to be able to protect our country and then work and respect our tribes as we do so.
Thank you. And the President Trump and some of his other potential staff and advisors have been very vocal about implementing a mass deportation strategy. You know, talking to my agricultural community, my dairy community, they have concerns that this approach will lead to workforce shortages that will further drive up the costs of everything, and something that we have really been working hard to across, I think, a bipartisan manner to bring down the costs of everything. And unfortunately, this would reignite inflation. What is your plan to ensure safe and legal immigration processes for agricultural workers while protecting local agricultural operations, including those both in of our home states?
Well, Senator, the president and President Trump has been very clear that his priority is going to be deporting criminals, those who have broken our laws and perpetuated violence in our communities. That'll be the priority. And as I spoke earlier with our statistics, having over 425,000 of those with criminal convictions in our country, that will be a focus that we need to tackle right away, and it'll be a big one. Beyond that, his next priority is going to be those with final removal orders, and focus on those individuals who have long overstayed, and that there is a consequence for ignoring our federal laws. Beyond that, we'll continue conversations. As you know, I'm a farmer and a rancher and come from an agricultural state, and we'll work together to make sure that laws are followed. You know, it is the Senate and the House that puts forward the laws. I, as Secretary, uphold the law. So you determine what that is, and debate and discussion. I'll be transparent and share as much information and insight as I have with my background and experience, and continue to work with you.